So this is a DSi XL bronze, shell number WW411886354. I'm just going to quickly go over why I gave it the condition score that I did. So for the physical condition of the shell, I gave it a 1 out of 3. You can tell immediately this glossy shell is pretty beat up. Scratches, has some good marks and nicks on it. Good scratch right there. Nothing over the camera, so the exterior camera will work just fine. It's just that this glossy shell has seen much better days. The left hinge looks good. The right hinge has this blemish on it. It looks like it was dropped onto something. Just extended that shell a little back. Around the charge port, it almost looks like somebody was like cutting away at it. I'm not really sure why. It doesn't inhibit the function of the charger, but I really don't know what to say about that. And then just around the edges, there's just a lot of like pitting, paint flaking off, marks. So wherever this thing was jammed, whether it be like a backpack or a pocket, it was seeing hitting a lot of stuff on the way, I guess. On this back shell, there's just a lot of pitting, paint flakes. And then right here around the little like keychain loop, there's a scratch. The interior of the shell is actually in really good shape, thankfully. I did notice a little bit of discoloration around the D-pad. That's just from normal use. There's a tiny bit around the A button, but really not that noticeable. When I shine my light on it, you can kind of see it. But yep, that's pretty much it. Okay, physical condition of the hardware, I gave an excellent. The hardware being the buttons. All the buttons look really good. I have no problem with any of them. I did notice there's one mark on the R button. A little bit around the edges. I can barely make it out in my camera, but just like a little bit of paint flaked off. Very, very small though. The physical condition of the screens, I gave a 1 out of 3. Mainly because the top screen has a lot of really light hair scratches. This might be a bit hard for my camera to pick up. So this might be something you'll have to take my word on. It does look good, but when you shine it over light, kind of see them. You'll just have to take my word for it on that one. There's just a bunch of really light hair scratches. You can't see it when the console's on, but it is something you'll notice it if you pan it over a light. The bottom screen has a more significant scratch. Right there. It sort of goes, yeah, there we go. And that's about the only thing I noticed with this bottom screen. It looks great otherwise. And both screens have screen protectors. But because of the amount of just really light hair scratches on the top screen, I decided to take it down to a lower rating. Oh, there you go. I can kind of... Very light hair scratches. Again, you can't see either of these when... Either of the scratched screens, rather, when the console's on. And for the screen condition, I gave a 1 out of 3. Mainly because there is minor yellowing on the edges of both of these screens. This might not come out exactly on camera. You can very mildly see it. You can see in these corners, they're just very mildly yellowed. Same here on the bottom, just in the corners. I understand this to just be a fault of being stored in a humid environment. So it's possible that these screens came from a Japanese console. And there is some anecdotal evidence to suggest that leaving these consoles on a white screen for an extended period of time will reverse the yellowing. That has not been proven to a degree that I'm satisfied with. But the way I see it is very minor yellowing. You're not going to see these when you're playing games. Plug in a game, start playing it. Unless you're very, very sensitive to the coloring of these screens or the edges, or you're playing a game that uses a lot of white screens for some reason, I don't see it being a problem. You either would completely forget about it, or you would only ever see it when you turn the console on and you're staring at the actual like DSi boot screen. So that is definitely something that's more subjective. I can't really objectively say that these screens are X% worse than normal OEM screens. All screens are different, but the intention was is I got these screens to match. They both have a similar degree of yellowing, so they're not drastically different. And if you're not too concerned about just the minor yellowing, because hopefully you'll be playing games on it with colored displays that you won't even see the yellowing. So that is why I gave it the condition score that I did.